Hi all, continuing on the theme of tackling the anti-Sicilian variations. So you want to play the Sicilian defense, which is a fun, exciting opening, and you've got killjoys as your opponents trying to crush the fun out of the game. So here we have Edgar Walther playing against Mikhail in 1958. So this is 2 years away from Mikhail becoming world chess champion. So e4 from Edgar, and now we have Tal playing Sicilian defense. And Edgar plays knight e2, so this is a little bit unusual. So does Tal want to routinely kind of play d6 to try and aim to get a Najdorf later? Actually, he plays knight f6. On d6, as mentioned by Alex Kolovich in this free short and sweet course you might want to check out, White could actually play the move c4, for example, if they want to Maroczy bind, and get quite a solid position. There's a more fighting way of playing this position, which is knight f6, which is what Tal used, so putting the question to that pawn. Now in this particular game, d3 was played. You might think, well, what about e5? Knight g4 is actually pretty good here. For example, f4, you can play d6, and if the knight's kicked, you get that f5 square. The bishop's potentially going to be hemmed in by its own pawn. So this is actually quite nice for black. Provocative, but very, very nice. If white goes crazy with g4, then check. And that's absolutely brilliant, of course. But even if white doesn't go crazy there, this is already a position which is really quite nice for black. So this provocative e5, knight g4 is adequate, it seems. On d4, again, there's the problem of the pawn being slightly loose. You just protect the knight with h5, so you're ready for knight c6. And, you know, if white really can't use this as a gambit, because actually queen b6 is even stronger than taking on e5 first, and that's just a wreck for white, that position. So the whole knight f6 is a very nifty, specific move against knight e2, which you might want to consider. This is what Tal played. So we have d3, rather meek. Now knight c6, and they even meeker move, knight d2. So the knights kind of, they have this passive feel to them, the knights on e2 and d2. So how does the great Mikhail handle this? He actually plays a very aggressive d5. Forget d6, he's hitting white's pawn chain now, trying to get more pressure on these two key central squares. We have c3, and he actually takes on e4, d takes. You might think sometimes, well, this sometimes weakens black on the light squares, this kind of thing, you know, if the bishop was great on that diagonal, but it's not happening here. The bishop's hemmed in by its own knight, so black maybe can afford this luxury way of playing. g6, queen c2, bishop g7, a4. Okay, maybe white's got Mikhail out of most of his Sicilian defense theory, but it's a very, very comfortable position for black here. Black castles knight c4, and in fact this knight is challenged with knight a5. We have knight f4 protecting the knight, and now if, for example, knight takes, that does help black a little bit. This position is absolutely fine, and in fact that pawn's pinned to the rook here, so b5 would be possible, and black could nab a pawn. It's not end of the world, but black's at least equal there. So anyway, knight f4, we have e5, and now after knight d5, there's something quite peculiar about this position, a little bit peculiar, which Tal taps into. Quite subtle downsides, which Tal is remarkably able to shed some light on here. I mean, I could even give you a clue that the knight on d5, okay, is maybe it's slightly loose, you can consider. So what does Tal play in this position, you think? If I give you 5 seconds to pause the video. Okay, it turns out here that knight takes e4 undermines that knight quite well tactically. Now, if queen takes e4 isn't played, say knight takes a5, queen takes d5, and then the queen could drop back here, hitting that knight again. So if queen takes, we've got queen takes. That's an even position. So the critical test here is what was played, queen takes. Now what is your follow-up here? if I give you 5 seconds to pause the video, follow-up move is crucial to get right here. So you've kind of loosened that knight. Is there a weakness of the last move you can tap into? Okay, there is. Knight b3, that is a weakness of the last move, and it's forking the rook and bishop. We have now, if you played bishop f5, by the way, before we get into that, queen f3 holds on to that knight, and that one's protected by the bishop. And if e4, queen goes back to d1, and white's got a big advantage just protecting the knight like that. So it's quite crucial to play knight b3. So we have now rook a3 being played. Rook b1 just runs into the skewer, bishop f5, taking there, forget about the knight on d5. Rook a2, we just take on c1, hitting the rook, and then play bishop f5, and this, and knight d3, and it's fantastic for black. So rook a3 was tried. We have bishop f5, and now queen e3 is played, okay, protecting the bishop but neglecting the knight. If queen f3 here, then yeah, just take the bishop actually. And if rook a1, knight d3 check, this is actually possible because of e4. With the king still in the centre, the queen's potentially going to be pinned if, or this is a mighty pin here. Just rook e8 is strong actually as well. So this position is quite crushing. Black's getting a big advantage. So we have queen e3, knight takes c1, and yeah, it'll be a bit miserable to take on c1. We have queen takes c5 instead, protecting this knight. Now rook e8, which does mean actually, now that this is vacated, there's this tactic which is going to skewer the queen and rook like that. Knight d3 check was also possible after taking this position, is quite good for black as well. But rook e8 introduces things like bishop f8. We have queen e3, and now instead of taking on d5, we have bishop f8. So leaving both knights to be taken, it seems. Yes, it looks crazy a little bit, this position. But rook's attacked as well. So what does white do? White plays knight b4. So by getting that knight at least protected, what about this knight on c1? Is there a problem? Well, we have a5 now. If knight d3 check, this, as you might think, isn't that great, but this position is actually quite good. Bang, rook takes c4. There are dangers here. It has to be played with great accuracy, even with knight d3 check. It seems that knight takes is not that great. Bishop takes is an improvement. And here, though, even in this sequence, okay, white's getting an advantage in this sequence, but here, rook ac8 instead, and all of a sudden it's tricky for white. This position, black actually is doing fine. So yeah, it seems as though it's okay even to play knight d3, but a5 is even stronger. Knight takes. We have here queen takes, queen takes. So yeah, quite a lot of tactical complexity resulting from that early knight takes e4. And the king is still in the centre. This is rather embarrassing that the king is still in the centre. Underdeveloped backs, all of black's pieces are active. Tails really maximised things from a seemingly nearly insignificant detail. The knight was slightly loose. To get this position is absolutely staggering with the black pieces. Beautiful position. By the way, if queen c3, then queen e4 check, and then rook ac8. This is just brilliant for black and mating potentially. So rook c3, we have check, bishop e2, and in fact now rook takes a4, keeping that bishop pinned, stopping white casting unless he wants to lose the bishop. f3, check, and now queen b4 here, letting white kind of castle if he wanted, but he plays g4. If castling, in fact, black has rook a2. It's a really nice position, a pawn up. and going to be another pawn up. It's massive advantage, basically. So g4 was played. And here this was ignored. The bishop didn't go back. We have actually e4 with the king still in the centre, and the rook pin. So e takes would be happening if g takes. We have f4. So just to put the other one on the board, g takes, e takes is leaving white in a terrible state. So f4. We have rook a2. So yes, this is very interesting. Letting the bishop go, leaving white in a nasty, nasty pin, and the king again stranded in the centre unless he wants to lose the bishop. There's all sorts of nasties here. We have actually white giving up the bishop with castling like that. It turns out here actually there might be a move which saves white actually. So I was a little bit suspicious about this and actually went back to this position to analyse it again. So this is a kind of embedded addendum at this point in the video, by the way. What do you think white could do which is much better than castling, which might dream of solving the issues here, which maybe Mikhail had not really estimated that much? If I give you 5 seconds, a key defensive move you might try. Okay. I thought king f2, and actually it turns out king f2 might actually be okay for white. After e3, rook takes, check, king e1. Rook takes e3. Black has a hard time proving anything apart from perpetual check, it seems. It's not entirely clear, this position. So maybe it is the case Tal got a bit overexcited, and earlier on this in this position after f4, black has a much simpler approach available in this position, just to play bishop e6. I guess it kind of justifies the aggressive pawns, maybe in some respects. After castling, it looks as though, well, you know, f5 and then f6 and queen h6 isn't that dangerous, but this might well be the way to play it. For example, bishop d5 and this position, so threatening, you know, rook a1, but check, and this looks scary. Say we have this position, it looks scary, but black has more control over the center and actually can play rook a1 check and e3 and not worry about f6, just go to h6. But perhaps, yeah, this kind of thing, maybe it put off Tal and he went for the piece sack instead, but black's absolutely winning this position. There's no attack here. So I find that a little bit curious now. Rook a2, maybe it's overcooking things instead of bishop e6. So also there's the move e3 as an alternative, installing a kind of central form pawn by force, taking on f4. This is actually mega dangerous for white. Yeah, black's doing really well in this with this pawn on e3 and the king being kicked from pillar to post, and can recollect the bishop with a massive advantage. That's another way of playing it. So maybe a slight moment of complacency, and we have this even with Kasparov sometimes in great looking positions, you know, a slight moment, a little bit of a slip up potentially behind the scenes. So maybe this is slightly overcooking things, this what happened here with rook a2 because of this king f2 move. Okay, I thought I should let you know that variation. Thanks. So rook takes e2, rook c8, check, and here rook takes, queen takes, check, and here fg, hg. Black is 2 pawns up, and the white king is really unsafe. f5, we have the move preventing f6 check by blockading the pawn, queen f6, and now after queen takes b7, in fact, queen e5 and the game ended here, so threatening checkmate. There's nothing really white can do in this position to defend h2. So yeah, the game ended here. On a move like f6 check, I believe the king can just run away to maybe h6 to stop any queen f7, to stop any nonsense, any delaying stuff. So the queen h2 threat will be on the board again. There's no more checks here. Queen's on the knight square. So anyway, the game ended here after Queen e5. So it shows the remarkable tactical skills of Mikhail, and he was careful not to play the routine d6 to that knight e2 move. You might want to check out a free short and sweet course for anti-Sicilian lines, which have ideas like the early knight f6 to knight e2 that you might want to try out in your own games. So GM Alex Kolovich has that nice short and sweet summary of key variations. You want to check that out at Kingscrusher TV/free-anti-Sicilian. So a free course there for you to check out. Hope you enjoy it. Thanks very much.